Good morning. Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. It's good to see you here. It's good to be back. If you're new here, by the way, my name is Beav Brodie, and I make videos, vlogs, tutorials about e-commerce, marketing, business, learning to make more money for yourself. So consider subscribing because there's a lot of knowledge coming down the pipeline. With that said, I don't know what's happening today. I don't know what this video is going to be about yet. As we just document the journey here. I do know that my friend Dan is coming by. He's in town. He's here on vacation. Dan owns a company called Combat Flags. You'll see a little bit more about that. We'll talk to Dan. I'm sure he's going to have some knowledge and some insights on what it's like when running his business. He's had some really cool success. Been on TV a few times for some things and stuff like that. So anyways, let's roll that intro and we'll get into the rest of the video.
Messages to respond
it's
to
distracting.
And ship out. Like there's so many other things that get in the way that by the time I get done like fully satisfying the customer, content is it's just another thing. Yeah.
Guys, meet Dan. We'll probably introduce him later on in this video at some point or earlier. You have met Dan by now. Anyways, we were sitting here talking, and this is actually a really good reminder. And I said as we were talking, and I told you guys I didn't know what this video was going to be about yet, but now I think this video is really turning into content strategy / we were talking about how it's really hard to think about content as you're a small business and you're doing a lot of things on your own, and you are replying to DMs, you're posting the content, you're having to think of the strategy, you're having to produce the content, all these things, and then you're so close to your product that it starts to be boring. Like I've posted 450,000 pictures of our changing mat, and I think that everybody's seen it because I've posted it before, but in all reality we get hundreds of new followers a day, so none of those people haven't seen it. It's just a good reminder that reusing content or posting the same thing multiple times isn't a terrible idea, and this is a really good reminder for myself. Guys, I don't pretend to be the end all be all by any means. I've had a lot of success for sure, and I want to share that with you and what's worked for me with you guys. But just because of that doesn't mean I'm some perfect robot that has it all figured out. So it's really cool that Dan came by today. He was here on vacation, and because it sparks a conversation, it's oh, I actually needed this conversation for myself, and it helps me out just as much as it helps you out, I hope, and I hope it helps you guys out. So but yeah, posting recycling content isn't always the worst idea. One, it goes back to a video that he referenced that I posted, equality versus quantity, and I'll put a link up here above and you can watch that video. But it's just about putting out, quality is subjective, so what you think is good quality versus what someone else thinks is good quality could be completely different. I like this hat, Dan might not like this hat. That's how black and white it can be. And people are scrolling this fast through stuff, so keep that in mind. The psychology behind what you're posting and things. Speaking of psychology, I wanted to bring this up. In a video, I did a website teardown video, the second one I did. I'll put a link to it up here again or in the description, but I was reviewing a website. It was Killer Mile Motorsports, and I completely overlooked an entire section of her website because of psychology, and that's why I tell you guys to put everything on the top left. So you guys up here on top left, because humans read left to right, or most of us. We read left to right. So that's the last thing you see. So, and I completely overlooked this section, which was actually a very, very important part of her website, that I ended up taking a video clip and saying, hey, I've discovered this later on, yada, yada, yada. But anyways, thinking through the psychology of how quickly people are scrolling, where things are placed on your website, and things like that is something to consider as well. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. Really interesting, really fun sit down, hang out, brainstorming session, which I think was super healthy for both of us, because as we both discovered you get so burnt out creating your own content that like you get in a rut. And it happens to all of us. It happens to me. There's plenty of times that like I get stuck in a rut, or Dan's stuck in a rut, and you just like you get into a fog. And anyway, so like having these like sit down, like hang out, undistracted, just brainstorm, throw ideas around, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. And you're like, oh, that was a really good idea, or like, yeah, that's funny, but that's dumb. Like,
yeah, man, it's good to get out of your own environment. A lot of what we just talked about was about close to where I live in Charlotte, like all of the stuff that there is to do around there, and where I could take my flags. But it's where I am every day, so it just kind of becomes vanilla scenery to me.
It's very your normal.
Yeah, it's my everyday life, so I don't see it as something new. Just like you don't see a lot of what you might do for tactical baby gear as maybe something new or as exciting because you're around it all the time.
Right. Yeah, it becomes very bland to you for sure, yep. and just like we talked about earlier, and there's you're working against things like algorithms. So what we spoke to and we were talking about earlier is like you could post the same thing on 2 different days and completely different set of people will see it because of the way that Facebook and Instagram's algorithms work these days. It's not in chronological order, so it's feeding content to different people at different times. So it's not a terrible idea to recycle that content, yep. to use it again. Yep. You've already posted about this and you feel like, why do I need to post about the changing mat again or the same flag I posted about? Like,
right.
You feel like there's only so many ways to show your product in use or being used, or so many ways to show the product, or so many mm-hmm. times to show that it has this feature or function. But new people are seeing it all the time. And I did a video before, I actually went on a rant at one point. One post away from changing the course of your business. You're one post away from the one person seeing it that's gonna make a difference. You're one video away. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is. The same reason I'm making these videos right now. They're not perfect. It's gonna be shaky. It's gonna be bad light and all that crap. But you're only one away from changing the course of your business. I'll link it up here somewhere. The quality versus quantity, yep. and how it really only takes like one post to change the trajectory of your business. For you, it took one post for somebody to comment on to nominate combat flags for Mike Rowe's show that put him on TV, that made yep. things blow up. Like, you're only one post away from changing the direction of your business. So, the more content you can put out there, the more often, and again, quality is subjective. So yep. Just keep putting it out there. And I have to remind myself the same thing all the time.
Yeah, it's been a good conversation.
It's been fun.
Good to get out of my own head and talk with somebody who's like-minded.
Right? Dan, tell them a little bit about combat flags. Let's hear the story.
Yeah, so combat flags is about 2.5 years old. It started with what I call the original combat flag, which is a 4x6 inch, got one right here actually, 4x6 inch American flag that's made out of duty worn fatigues. So I was in the Army for 6 years, and when I left, I literally left all the way. I packed it up, put it away. What I found was that I was missing kind of that connection to the military community and the veterans, and I was on this journey to find a way to get back into it. So after about 2.5 years of soul searching and ideating and just kind of trial and error, I landed on combat flags, and I started it with the original, which is, like I said, 4x6 inches and made out of the duty worn fatigues, but you also get the story on the back of who wore the gear, so it makes service real, and it takes it out of the big numbers that we hear about in the news, like 3,000 troops are deployed. Well, this brings it down to Mitchell's service and what Mitchell did while he was in the Army. From these guys, I make donations monthly to a nonprofit called Stop Soldier Suicide, and in 2.5 years of business, I've donated just over $32,000 now.
It's incredible.
Yep.
It's super awesome, man.
And we've expanded, obviously. When I say we, I mean I, because it's still a one-man show. From the original combat flag to 3x5 foot flags that are made for outdoor use that still mimic the camouflage patterns worn by each branch of service. So you can have one in a frame in your house, or you could fly one out front on your porch.
So if you're a patriotic American and you love this country, pick yourself up a combat flag.
That's right. Couldn't have said any better.
So hopefully see more of Dan soon. If you guys, I need to put this on. I didn't do face tracking because there's two people, and it's gonna
know where to go.
At 2.8, it's gonna freak out. So sorry, I'm like playing with the screen over here a lot, guys. This video is a bit different from most of my other videos. I feel like it's always different when people come in. Like the videos get kind of sporadic, and it's not
good,
like
it changes up your content.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
See?
Yeah. So anyways, go follow Dan. I'll put a link to combat flags in the description of this video.
Yep.
Another takeaway I have from this conversation with Dan was if you have a really interesting story like this that's something for people to connect with, share that story on your website or through email or whatever.
Yeah.
That really helps sell the brand and tell people what the brand is all about. Some people don't want to feel like they're tooting their own horn, but the fact of the matter is, like, the story becomes part of the brand, and you need to share that story for people to connect with in order to sell things, to make money, so that you have a business, so that you can quit your day job and stuff like that.
Right.
So, anyways, that's it. I realized I have a CPR class to go to this afternoon, so Dan's going to get on with his day. He's going to go hold it down at the beach, make sure hurricanes don't blow it away for us here, and I'm going to eat some lunch and head to a CPR class.
Cool.
Thanks for stopping by,
Yeah,
dude.
thank you, man.
Super good
Good
to meet
talk.
you, for sure. Later, dude.
Bye.
What a nice guy. T-Dog, what's for lunch?
Something good.
Look how overexposed that was for a second. Wow. Guys, it's so nice outside. Unbelievable. Oh, I'm stuffed. I almost forgot again that I got to do this CPR class. Well, it's good to be reminded of a CPR class. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.